When I came home, I was only home about a month and a half, and I had a football scholarship, and I played halfback on the football scholarship. I graduated from Houston University in 1950 and was a coach for 30 years. That's when I coached at Mount Vernon. And I lived just down a block and a half from Don Meredith. He was in elementary school. He was a 5-year-old when I was going to school. I started to play coaching Don Meredith when he was about 4 or 5 years old, and then coached him in high school because I passed his house every day going, and his brother Jack, they'd be out in their yard playing football, and I'd pass to him. We'd have a touch football game. But Don was my quarterback for the 3 years I coached in Mount Vernon. I guess the thing I tell about Don, people ask about what kind of guy Don Meredith was, and I did a lot of things with Don Meredith over the years in high school, and even when I came to Thomas Jefferson in Dallas. Well, he was at SMU. He played for SMU, and I was coaching it, and he came over and helped my players at Thomas Jefferson a few times. I asked him to come over and show him how to pass and to tell him how to play quarterback. But Don was a very interesting person. Everybody liked Don. I mean, Don was the most liked kid in high school. He was a valedictorian and really smart. And I think the thing about Don that I know that everywhere he was in high school, nobody was jealous of him, and he was most outstanding and most popular. And of course, Porters went to him, and same at SMU. And when he was played for the Cowboys, everybody liked him. But I think I can tell a little story that kind of explains Don. When he was in high school, we were down in the school cafeteria, and all the kids came in to eat lunch at the school cafeteria, and they'd have their groups they'd sit with. Well, of course, Don in there, but he always had someone. Well, anyway, this day, what Don did was he was sitting down there with his group, and they were all laughing and having a good time, and there was a little country girl sitting over at a table by herself. She rode the bus. She's a very plain, simple country girl, and so Don was with this big group, and she was there. So Don got it up and left and went over and sat with her to make her feel at home. And it really affected that little girl. I mean, that's just the kind of guy he was. Instead of he was thoughtful of other people. But that girl, it really made her. She ended up being a pretty outstanding kid after it. But up till Don started being friends with her. I thought that's a pretty good story for Don to be sitting with his group and to leave them and go over and sit with her. Of course, the other group went too, and she started eating with that group.
Did you ever watch him on Monday Night Football?
Oh yeah, he mentioned my name on Monday Night Football one time.
Stand by, Howard. Here we come, Frank. Ready, Don. Stand by, audio. You open music and roll tape. Take tape.
He and Howard Cosell was talking. Howard Cosell is kind of he's not a football. He wasn't a football man anyway. And Howard Cosell said something about that they were watching the football game and how these guys were blocking or how they were covering a passer. And Don said, "Oh, Cosell said my high school coaches, Robby Campbell and Wayne Pierce, taught me that in high school." That was that's the only time I've ever been mentioned on national television, I'm sure.
Touch of dashing Donald Meredith, and here he is in action again. A most amazing fellow.